Right guys, before we get into the video, I just wanted to say, please make sure you have voted for the Saints View in this year's Football Content Awards. We are nominated for Best New Content Creator. There are 3 ways you can vote: by using the link in the description below, tagging us in the comments on an Instagram post that I've also linked in the description below, and also tweeting the following text that's also in the description below. All you have to do is copy and paste that, tweet it out, and literally that's as easy as it is. To do all 3 votes, it probably takes about 15 seconds, helps us out massively. And yeah, we'd love to win it. It'd be a massive thing for us. So please do that. Pause the video if you haven't done it, and then come back to the video. Thanks a lot in advance. Enjoy the video. Alright guys, and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for something content, for another video, the first bit of Matchday content that we have uploaded for over 100 days, 102 to be precise. It's something we've been missing massively, but football's back, the Premier League's back, and Matchday content on the Saints View is back. I'm so excited. And of course, first up for Saints is Norwich away at Carrow Road. This is our match preview. We're going to be breaking down the game. I'll be showing my opinion on what I think about the restart and sort of how I'm feeling going into the game. We'll also get insight from the Norwich side of things from Norwich City Central. We did get him on for a match preview just before the Premier League was suspended because of the coronavirus, so good to have him back on. And yeah, I am incredibly excited. Let's get into it. But before we talk about the game, make sure you are subscribed with your notifications turned on. So much content is going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks, guys. You do not want to miss it. And also make sure you are following us on our socials. A lot more active recently. It's just sort of during the lockdown period on there, and that is going to continue. We want to be the best Southampton platform out there on social media, so make sure you are following us for transfer news, rumours, basically anything that happens with Saints. So if you're not following, make sure you do. Right, let's get into the video and let's preview Southampton's trip to Norwich. Yes, we are back in business. Southampton are back playing football matches, competitive football matches. It's something we've been waiting for a very long time during this very difficult period over the last couple of months. But it's something to look forward to. Of course, the main thing is we can't be there. It's behind closed doors, which is obviously a real shame, but it's a reality at the moment. You know, we're still suffering from this awful, awful disease and this pandemic. But hopefully we'll be back at St Mary's soon and going to football matches soon. But we start off with an away game, which actually on paper favours Saints, having seen how they've done this season. Now, of course, the last game was almost 3.5 months ago, so can we sort of talk about our form based on that? I don't really think we can, but of course that's the only sort of guideline we have. So in terms of how we were doing before we went into the lockdown, not great. You know, it was 4 defeats in 5, and then you had that 1 win sort of in between these defeats at home to Aston Villa, which was a shame because it was a run of winnable fixtures. And after we'd had such a good run over Christmas and sort of January time, it was a shame. But even before the lockdown, we sort of identified the end of season fixtures as, you know, some that are definitely winnable, especially if we're on form. And that's what we need to do. We need to go into this restart with good form, and that all starts with Norwich away and a very good performance, picking up a result on Friday. Now we're on 34 points. It seems that the club feel like they're safe. Of course, mathematically they're not, but I think 1 win would basically confirm everything. Of course, you know, you have the 40th point mark. That's apparently magic as the sort of total that guarantees your safety. And you'd like to think with 9 games, I think 2 wins is definitely achievable. Of course, we don't want to go into the restart having to look over our shoulders. We want to be looking up the table, and so I think it's absolutely vital that we get off to a great start on Friday so we can actually finish well, because I think if we lose to Norwich, you know, maybe slowly we'll start having to look behind us and just maybe have a bit of concern about where that win's going to come from. You know, if you ask me, I think we're safe, but I don't want to jinx it. And I do think we could, I don't want to say top half, I think that's too far away now, but I definitely think we can push for sort of 11th and 12th. And I think if you told me we're going to finish there, I'll snap your hand off right now. I'd take that every day of the week. And as I mentioned earlier, the form before the suspension was, you know, it was patchy in parts. There were some good performances in defeats. For example, the Spurs FA Cup game, should have won that game quite comfortably. We were absolutely superb that night. Even, for example, the 3-2 loss to Wolves being 2-0 up, you know, in that first half we were absolutely sublime. But then there were games where it just wasn't our day. We didn't really show up. Burnley at home, West Ham away. Even Newcastle to an extent, I know we lost more or less because of the red card, but we were never able to get going. And that's what I think we need to change going into this game. Hopefully we have done. I think with the news of Ralph's new contract and also having Long and Smallbone sign new contracts, and also the fact that it seems like other key players like Bertrand, Romeo and even more Prowse are likely to sign new contracts. That's a massive statement of intent to that squad that, you know, we want to finish as well as possible for this season, and then going into the new season that could even start in the next, I don't know, maybe 2 months. We want to start as well as possible and have a really good campaign, and that all starts with having a good finish to this one. But one thing I noticed when I was looking back on our form before the suspension was the fact that we didn't have Nathan Redmond for a handful of those games towards the end. You know, he missed out from Burnley onwards, and I think we sort of showed that without him, we're quite feeble going forwards. I think, you know, especially in that West Ham game, we hardly went forwards at all. Burnley, we looked lacklustre as well. Newcastle, you know, all these defeats were games where we hardly showed anything going forwards, and I think that kind of proves that Redmond is a key creative force. And if you didn't believe it beforehand, well, I think that does prove it. And of course, there's so much uncertainty that goes into this game and this whole restart. You know, there are changes. The main one, as I've mentioned, no fans. That is obviously a shame. But also new rules like having 5 substitutes. You know, that's going to be different. That's going to affect who gets game time and how much game time they're going to get. Shay Adams, for example, he was a player who couldn't buy a goal, but now he's probably guaranteed more playing time. Will he finally get that breakthrough and possibly be a key player for us come to the end of the season? We just don't know. As I mentioned before, it's a mixed run of fixtures to finish off the season, but there are definitely some winnable ones in there, and Norwich is the start of that. And sort of looking more into the Norwich game as opposed to the restart in general, personally, I'll say it right now, I think it's absolutely vital that Norwich win this football match. I think it's more important that they win it than we do, to be honest. And obviously I want us to win. Of course, I'm a Saints fan, but I'm just saying that we have a lot less to play for. Of course, we need to be safe as soon as possible, but I think if they lose this game, there's absolutely no chance that during this restart they'll save it anything and they will go down. And our form against Norwich over the last couple of seasons has been very mixed. We haven't actually won at Carrow Road since 2010, but at home we tend to do quite well against them. Obviously we beat them 2-1 at our place back in December. That was the start almost of this amazing run that during this sort of winter period. You know, we'd beaten Watford and them at home within the space of about 4 or 5 days, when we hadn't even won at home before that Watford game. And then we went on to obviously do very well for ourselves and propel up the table. And we saw in that game how nervy it can get when we don't take our chances, and I think it's absolutely vital that we do on Friday night. Norwich are a good side going forward. Defensively they've had their problems, and to an extent they can't take their chances, but they do create. In terms of team news, it doesn't really seem we have any injury concerns. Of course, tomorrow the predicted lineup will be out, and hopefully there's some sort of press conference where there's confirmation of who's available and who's not. The only player we know who won't be playing is Moussa Djenepo, who starts a 3-game ban after his red card against Newcastle in the last game. But that is a big positive. Besides Djenepo, we've basically got a fully strength squad to choose from. Redmond's back, Armstrong, he had a few niggles, he was in and out towards the end. Hopefully Ings is fit enough to start games as well. So that is basically our strongest team, which is a good sign. Of course, the only sort of football we've been able to see from the team since it was announced that the Premier League was going to come back and teams went back into training, it was the Bristol City friendly win last Friday. It was 3 45-minute periods. I mean, a big mixture of youth and experienced players. There wasn't too much to take from it, in my opinion. I think we saw, particularly with that second goal, going forwards, we've still got it and we've got good chemistry and we can play some very good stuff. At the back, you know, still shaky, but it was a second choice defence, so I don't really think there's much we can take from it. Of course, winning friendlies is great, but we won loads of friendlies in the summer and started the season awfully. So, you know, I don't really know how much we can take from it going into this game. But it was interesting. I did put it in my 5 things we learned. If you haven't yet watched it, there should be a card or something, or I'll link it. You'll be able to find it. Was the fact that we included a lot of youth. You know, youth players got a chance. I mean, we've seen Jake Vokins and Will Smallbone play a few times in the first team, but even players like Jankovic and Nathan Teller, they got minutes. You know, will they be involved? Given the fact that we've got the 5 substitute rule as well. But moving away from Saints, let's talk about our opponents, Norwich City. Now their week has been shadowed almost by the fact that one of their players did test positive for the coronavirus. Obviously you don't wish that on any sort of player. They will miss the game on Friday. They have to self-isolate for 7 days and then return a negative test. We have no clue who the player is, so we'll just have to wait and see on Friday. It may even be confirmed in a press conference later on in the week who the player is, but I think they'll want some privacy. And it was a shame because it also shadowed over the fact that they got a very impressive friendly win away at Tottenham. They beat them 2-1, came from behind. Of course, a friendly game, mixture for both sides of academy players and senior experienced pros. But obviously beating Spurs away is a massive morale boost. Now they have played some great football at times this season, football that they played in the Championship, however, playing it in the Premier League, it just hasn't worked with more or less the same players that they had in the Championship. It's just not gone well for them. 21 points, they're 20th. 6 points off of safety. I do fear for them. I think even if they won on Friday, I just can't see them staying up, unfortunately for them. I think they're a good club. I think they play good football, and if they do stay up, then potentially they could go and be a decent side if they improve their squads with the playing style that Daniel Farke wants to play with, but I just can't see it. But of course, I'm no expert on Norwich City, so I did get my mate Lewis from Norwich City Central. He's been on the channel before, he came back on, and we actually had a proper conversation about it, getting the opposition point of view going into the game on Friday. So here is my chat with Lewis. Right guys, I'm here with Lewis from Norwich City Central for our opposition insight. Lewis, mate, we are back again. We did try and do this, 3.5 months ago now, but obviously that didn't go to plan. But we're back 3.5 months later, we've got the football back. First of all, mate, just how excited are you to have the Premier League back?
It's good, mate. Yeah, definitely take two with this. No, yeah, really excited for the football to come back. I think if you look at the Bundesliga, and other leagues around Europe, it's probably the safest time to do it, and probably the best time to do it. But no, really excited for football to be back, and yeah, looking forward to it. Well,
obviously you're here to talk about Norwich. Let's get straight into it. 20th in the league, bottom of the table, 21 points this season. Where's it gone wrong?
It's a difficult one, mate. I think if you look at Norwich City, we started the season reasonably well, obviously beating Manchester City, a game we actually deserved to win. We played Man City off the park. And then just after Man City, around middle of September, middle of November, we had majority of our defenders injured. So I think we only had one. I think at one point we didn't have any fit centre back. So that kind of, from the middle of September till middle of November, we only got 1 point, and that was really disastrous for us. So we had an injury crisis. And then from that point, we've been getting a few points here and there. I think in December, no team had dropped more points in winning positions than us in Premier League history, which is not a statistic you particularly want. And then from January and February onwards, we're starting to slowly pick up points. So where has it gone wrong? It was that spell between the middle of September and the middle of November where Norwich only managed to record just the 1 point, and also the ability not to hold on to leads at Carrow Road.
And obviously, I think it's quite fair to say sometimes this season Norwich have been praised for their style of football. They could have easily sort of gone with the defensive mentality, but no, they continue playing the attacking football that got you promoted in the first place. But do you feel a bit underwhelmed that it is probably going to end in relegation this season, or is this what you sort of expected going into the season?
No, I didn't expect it. I thought we'd continue playing this nice style of football and probably do enough to stay up. So yeah, I'm going to be I feel a bit disappointed. I think as well, I don't think Norwich City have particularly scored enough goals as well. Yes, we've been playing this nice attacking football, but we've been so reliant on the likes of Pukki and Cantwell to get the goals. And, our central attacking midfielders and other players haven't really chipped in with enough goals. So, yes, we played this nice attacking football, but I particularly think away from home, where we've only recorded the one away win all season, that's what's been disastrous for us. But no, yeah, I'll be disappointed if we go down. But there's still enough games to get points, so I think we're just living on some prayers, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about Pukki and Cantwell there. Would you still say they're the key men going into these 9 games, as they had, as Clea said, there had been before the restart? Or do you think there could be another player or two that could sort of emerge as the sort of saviour almost for Norwich this season?
Yeah, so Pukki 11 Premier League goals. He's going to be really important to see whether we stay up. And Cantwell as well has been contributing. Another player who you should keep your eye on is Emi Buendia. He's a right winger. He plays on the right wing, but he kind of drifts more into the centre. He hasn't scored a goal this season, which is absolutely bizarre, but he's been one of our best players. He's created the second most chances out of anybody in the whole league, which is incredible, only behind Kevin De Bruyne. So Emi Buendia, yeah, fantastic player, someone who's created a lot of chances, someone who defensively is very good as well. I think he'll have a part to play, and I think Tim Krul as well. He's probably been our player of the season. I feel like our attacking players are going to need to step up now in order for Norwich City to stay up, and defensively as well, because defensively Norwich City has been a team who have just, I think we've been a bit naive defensively, and that's probably why we've conceded the amount of goals we have.
Well, obviously that was all 3.5 months ago, so we have no clue if anything's going to change. But you know, fast forward to this week, it came out that a Norwich player has tested positive for the coronavirus. I mean, should I even bother asking you who it is? Because I don't think you know, but I don't know. Have you had any links? You have no idea?
We've got no idea. It's typical as well. Just within the week we got to play, someone comes out, so obviously he's going to miss the Southampton game. Yeah, we have no idea who it is. The Premier League have said that. I mean, initially we thought it could be a goalkeeper, someone like Tim Krul, but the Premier League have said that, you know, the player did play in that friendly, and it basically could be anyone, because as long as, I think the reason why football's going ahead is because they've said that footballers who, I think you've got to spend 15 minutes in close contact with someone, and they deem footballers only to spend around 5 minutes, or outfield players anyway. So yeah, we've got no idea who it is.
So obviously that was in the 2-1 friendly win against Spurs. I know it's a friendly, but you know, what can you take from that game? Who played? How well did Norwich play? Were they lucky to get a win? Just sort of tell us about what actually happened in the game from what you sort of heard.
Somewhat, I think friendlies can. I mean, Spurs did have a lot of academy players, but so did we. So, no, I definitely think you can take some positives from friendlies, particularly when there's only a week to go. For me, one of our standout players in that game was Mario Rancic, who is another Norwich City player who's had a lot of injuries. He plays in that central defensive midfield slot, although he does like to attack more. He was really important in Norwich City, getting promoted to the Premier League, and scored a lot of goals. His technical ability is absolutely fantastic, and if he can stay fit, he can have a part to play. But no, I think with the friendly, you can take a few positives, but at the end of the day, it's just a friendly, and it was more so a training exercise. But no, I think we can take some positives from it. As I say, the performances of Mario Rancic and getting the fitness levels up.
Well, it all comes down to this game on Friday night. We spoke the other day about how, you know, I'll even admit it, you know, I think this is more important for Norwich to win than for Saints to win. But we don't know what to expect really, but what do you think could happen on Friday night at Carrow Road, and what is your score prediction?
I think after the last few months, I think I've got no idea what to predict about anything whatsoever. But no, in terms of a score prediction, as you said, Norwich are going to need this more than Southampton, and I spoke about this with you, Dan, and I'm sure you'll talk about it in your preview. Will the Southampton players be up for it? You know, of course, you've got the ability to get up the table and, you know, increase money for table position. But I wonder whether the Southampton players and, I don't know, Newcastle players will be up for it. But no, yeah, Norwich City need this. At Carrow Road, we have been quite good this season. That's where we've got most of our points from. And I think Norwich City are going to narrowly beat Southampton. I think it'll be tight, but I think we might just have that quality and maybe extra bit of motivation to get over the line.
Yeah, you know what, I can't see past it. I do think it's going to be a good game, and I hope it's going to be a good game. You know, it's on TV. It's the first game on Friday, third game back, so it's one of the sort of ones I think people will watch. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. But I think two sides that like to play high pressing, attacking football. I think it could be a good game. But thank you so much, Lewis, mate. Just for everyone watching, where can we find you?
Yeah, so Norwich City Central, lots of Norwich City content on there. Match reviews, match previews. Of course, no Matchday vlogs now, but yeah, all content around Norwich City on Norwich City Central.
Well, mate, thank you so much for joining me, and all the best after Friday.
Thanks for having me on, Dan. You too, mate.
Once again, thank you to Lewis for coming on. I'll leave all his links in the description below. Now, on to the prediction. Now, I just don't know what to expect. I genuinely don't, but I think, you know, on paper, our away form's been pretty awesome for the most part this season. We were playing some good stuff at times, even when our form on paper was bad. We just had mixed games, and I think the fact that Norwich really needed, almost like how West Ham needed the 3 points when we went to their place just before the break. I kind of feel like it could be that sort of game, but I'm going to be positive. I think I would take a point. I think a point wouldn't be the worst way to start the restart. I know we've got Arsenal, and that could be a fishy game, but then I think Watford is definitely a winnable one as well, the game after. So I don't think a point would be a bad start. However, I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Saints win. Danny Ings is going to score, and I think Shea Adams is going to score off the bench and score the winner. You heard it here first. And if you want to put some money on it, Norwich will take the lead and have a 1-0 lead into half time. We're going to have a comeback in the second half. Norwich have lost a lot of points from winning positions this season. I think it's possible. yeah, Shay's going to score the winner and get his first goal. You heard it here first. But that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, leave it a like. If you're excited for the season to restart, give it a like. Make sure you are subscribed with your notifications turned on. Follow us on all of our socials, and we'll see you tomorrow for our predicted lineup.